Historic Auto Attractions in Roscoe, Illinois. Here's part two of a program we filmed back in, I think it was October of last year. Historic Auto Attractions is really a place where you need to go because they have a little bit of everything. We have military display, westerns, Elvis Presley, automobiles, presidential stuff. It's located in Roscoe, Illinois. It's really only about an hour's ride from Chicago, maybe from Chicago's O'Hare Airport area, maybe an hour and a half, straight out 90, so you won't get lost or anything. But this is a place you need to go to. It has a little bit of everything for everybody in the family, from the little kids up through the a little older kids, like even at the age of 80. But grandma, grandpa, everybody would love to go to the historic auto attractions in Roscoe, Illinois. This place is something to see, and we even have Uncle Sam there. So make it a goal, but check out this show and even go back and look at our other shows that we did on this one. Henry Ford was an amazing individual. When he put his mind to something, he never changed his mind. He never went back. He never second-guessed himself. But this is another thing that the Ford Motor Company did from 1916 through 1928. They built these tractors. They called them Ford's Son, really after the son of Henry Ford. But they built 75,000 of these tractors for the farmers. He made tractors that were affordable and farmers could do work in their field with this. This thing cost in the day around $400, which was less than half of what the normal tractors cost back then. But he took that assembly line idea where they manufactured them quickly and that cut the labor costs down, so he was actually able to put that through to the buyer of something like this Ford tractor. You know, throughout the years, we have, right now, as of today, we have 18 television shows on RichieZ.com, RichieZ.com. That's my website. We're also on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Now, we've done concept cars in the past, but this has got to be the most interesting, let me put it that way, concept car I've ever done. It was designed in 1968, and this is the way you get in and out of it. One of the reasons is because they made this car super safe. So if you got hit in it, but it was a concept car. Kind of an interesting thing, though, walking in the back of the car. They got stairs and everything to get in and out of the car. They say it's safety-wise, it was cool, but I say, what if you get hit and you're trapped in there? A journey in time. We have timepieces here from all over the country, all over the world, in fact, from as early as, I believe, the 16th or 17th century. But he's got a display here with probably well over 100 antique timepieces. He's got the presidential clocks from the White House. When TV and radio first came out, he's got TV sets and all of that. It's really an amazing display. I'm having so much fun today. Even my cameraman, Tim, always, he's having a blast here at the Historic Auto Attractions in Roscoe, Illinois. There's a little bit of something for everyone. So, man, you could bring anybody from grandma to grandpa, kids from 6 to 80, and they'll enjoy this place. This is really, really something to see. This is another amazing piece. When I saw this, how could we not shoot this? This is a pipe organ, and it's from, I would say, the 1800s. It's an amazing piece, not restored or anything. I like when people leave things original. It's rough in shape, but it's all original. This piece is worth a lot more the way it is right now than it would be if it was completely restored. And a restoration on something like this would be very, very costly. Radio was the thing. In fact, Thomas Edison was the one that had a patent on radios. But radio really was built and was started in Chicago, Illinois. There was more manufacturers of radio in the day than you can ever imagine. We were actually going to do a show on radio and television, which both started in Chicago, Illinois. Famous display of a famous singer back in the 50s, Patsy Cline. All I got to say about Patsy Cline, she was magnificent. She sang beautifully. And the sad part about her was she lost her life way too early. Hank Williams was another country star. Again, he became extremely popular. He was not only a singer, but he was a songwriter. They'd give him an idea, he'd go into an office for a half hour, rumor has it, and he'd come out with some of the most loved songs of the era. But again, he lost his life way too early. 1960 Cadillac limousine that was owned and used by Howard Hughes. What an amazing story the Howard Hughes story is. I read a lot about him. When he was 21, I believe his father and grandfather, who were in the tool business, invented something, but he perfected it and made it work. And that was a drill bit that when they were drilling for oil, could go through anything. They called it, I believe, the diamond tip drill bit. And that's where he began and started making his fortune. He went on to building airplanes and got in the motion picture industry and bought casinos in Las Vegas. He owned the Frontier Casino. The one story that's really something about Howard Hughes was he just was a great businessman. He made a lot of money, but he was the one that signed a contract with Wayne Newton back in the day when he was very young to perform at the Frontier, and he gave him $1 million a month to perform at the Frontier. That was the days when Las Vegas made a lot of money and people really enjoyed it. But vehicle from the era, 1960, that was taking Howard Hughes around. 9/11 Memorial. I don't even want to get into what happened on 9/11 in our country, but it's a beautiful display of a tribute to the 9/11. A lot of you people out there are friends of mine on Facebook, and if you watch my posts on Facebook, you know on Sundays I always do some kind of tribute to Jesus Christ, the Lord, thanking him for what I have. This is an amazing display of the apostles and Jesus Christ at the Last Supper. Wayne, the owner of this historic auto attraction, actually bought this from a museum, I believe he said in Canada, that went out of business. What an amazing display. The gentleman that made the slogan, finger licking good. If you grew up when I was a kid, you knew that was Colonel Sanders of Kentucky Fried Chicken. 13 spices made that chicken famous back in the day. Well, this is a card that he used throughout the era. Famous Colonel Sanders of Kentucky Fried Chicken. Mark Twain, Vincent van Gogh, Pablo Picasso, and some of the other famous people throughout history. I love a place like this. It brings back a lot of memories. I remember when I was a kid and going to grammar school and that, we had to read stuff by Mark Twain. And it really, I believe it was really something that taught you wrong from right and all of that. Another iconic display here at the Historic Auto Attractions in Roscoe, Illinois. Mussolini in Italy. I have some interesting tidbits of information or things that happened. I want to talk about my dad a little bit because he was captured in the war and he was actually taken to Siberia by the Nazis. But the Polish army liberated him from that concentration camp, and he was part of the group from Poland. There was groups from everywhere, from England, Americans, and all of that. They're the ones that marched on Monte Cassino and took over the power from Mussolini. Chicago is our inspiration. Richie Z's Chicago is the only storyteller. For an unforgettable tour experience, discover Richie Z's Chicago History Tours up to 6 people. We pick you up and we bring you back. Book a tour with Richie Z by calling 312-841-2560. Check out our website, Richie Z, at Chicago History and Automotive Heaven, RICHIEZIE.com. Call 312-841-2560. We are also on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and our website at RichieZ.com. History presentations at your location. You can also book Richie Z to come to your location and do a Chicago history presentation. Call 312-841-2560. An American hero, as we're talking from the historic auto attraction. Elvis Presley, they claim, gave away in excess of 200 cars to his friends and politicians and people on and on. We even have a shot here of him and President Nixon, but this is an iconic display of a Lincoln that he owned. When they came out with these marks, just like me, a lot of people, just like Elvis, fell in love with the automobile. It was really something new, something different, something luxurious, and Elvis loved Lincoln. So it's a wonderful display here at the historic auto attraction, Elvis Presley. You know, I asked Wayne from the historic auto attraction to take us to a special place that he really likes, and first thing out of his mouth was Elvis. So you got a beautiful display here. You had this, I believe, when you first opened years ago, the picture of Graceland. And that's a wonderful story. When he became a star and he started making money and everything else, he purchased that. And it was a lot of money at the time. I heard it was, around $100,000, which was a lot of money back then.
That's correct.
But I want to mention one thing. When he passed away, he wasn't worth a fortune. He had money. He was doing okay. There was no problem or anything. I'm not going to say anything like that. But he left the estate to his daughter, and Lisa Marie had a mother, Priscilla, and she turned that estate and everything else that Elvis left into an operation that was really a huge money maker by making it a museum. They were selling his albums and all kinds of artifacts and everything else, and it was really a wonderful story. Now you got some things, man, here that are these the original outfits?
Well, there's 2 of them over there that are original, and these other ones here are tribute ones. Because some of that stuff is in the Presley Museum and you can't get your hands on it.
Okay.
And so I had these made so a guy could get the feel of what they really look like. And through time, the wallpaper, where we did it again, that wallpaper makes you feel like you're standing in front of Graceland. And that's what I want you to get that feel.
How do you do this? I mean, I've seen this all over your museum. You're one of the most unique museums out because you don't even have to tell the story, but you got music in backgrounds. You got people on tape telling history when I walk up and this and that. How do you do this? This really is something.
Well, you know, something the way modern technology is with computers, that was just a little 8x10 picture. And we take the DPI and we try to get the image so when you blow it up, it still looks just fantastic, which this one turned out exceptionally well.
Usually they blur out, don't they?
They do. And I had to replace this because, like I say, modern technology in the last couple of years, we re-wallpapered this. I was going to take and sit his Lincoln right in front of it. But I thought maybe it'd look a little better if I just went and put the outfits there and let people walk around. Like I got Linda Thompson's, those are her dresses and outfits. And we have a lot of his stuff that are real.
Don't ever second guess yourself because what's in your gut right now, go with it because you've done a spectacular job with everything. Now, you told me you wanted to come here because you had something special.
I got to show you something that we have right here that I kind of think is really neat because they come out with that new Elvis movie.
Okay.
And this one here is kind of all about Colonel Parker. I'm going to show you.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Here we go.
Yeah. Now, Elvis bought that mansion in 1958.
Okay.
But before that, when he was 1955 and all that and started becoming and doing records, he'd come to Nashville. Well, Colonel Parker hooked up with him. And Colonel Parker worked real hard because he wanted him under his veil.
Right.
And so he had a house there in Madison,
I've seen it.
Tennessee.
I've seen it.
That's a suburb of Nashville. So Elvis would come there on a weekend or so, and he'd stay in a bedroom there. And out back, they had a fan club. And so he had a mail room back there. He had a fan club. The colonel had his office and all that stuff. A couple of years ago, the land got sold after the colonel died. So we were going to tear it down, and my friend Brian Oxley bought the rights to the house and all this stuff. At that time, he commissioned an artist named Wayne Brzezinka. And he wanted to get some parts out of the colonel's house and all the stuff and make this very beautiful painting. So what I got in here is like up here, if you look in the hair, it's got colored wires in there. Those are from the telephone pole and the wires leading into the house. Now those, if they tell a story, Ed Sullivan probably called and talked to the colonel and signed a contract for the Ed Sullivan Show right through those wires. This here right here was in a hallway between the colonel's and Elvis's bedroom. Tells a story. This here was part of the telephone pole and some of the wood out of his room. This money clip right here is kind of interesting. It come out of the colonel's house also, and it got a $2 bill in it. So the $2 bill signifies something. The colonel says, I'm going to sign you up, and I'll make you, right now, you are worth $1 million. But in a year from now, you will have $1 million. That was his saying back then. So what happened, he says, for every dollar you make, I make $1. So Wayne Brzezinka put a $2 bill in this money clip, which I thought was quite fitting. And so this here, I'm proud to have this in here for part of it because that movie come out and a lot of it was about Colonel Parker. This is a lot to do with Colonel Parker.
I carry $2 bills all the time.
Are you kidding me?
I carry them all the time.
Why?
It draws attention when you go to stores and everything else. But when I was a kid, they used to say $2 bills was lucky. And I find, I'm a very positive person. I'm not into negatives. I'm into positives, period. And I've put smiles on people's faces for years. I've been telling the story, I'm a cancer survivor, and I also became a coach for people that are going through some hard times with illnesses or whatever. I find that I do well with the person with cancer or whatever, but I'm also a big help to the caregivers. And the $2 bill is just puts smiles on people's faces. I give away angels all the time, and it's just really, really cool. Like you're telling the stories around here, that's my kind of a interesting story that I have.
Man, that's touching. Now,
You can have that.
I never hardly ever met a guy walking around with a $2 bill, I must say.
You can have that.
I was shocked to see that in here. Well, thank you.
Like I say, I carry them. I have a number of them here.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
It puts
So
smiles
when
on
I
people.
mentioned $2 bill here, you thought, well, I got one.
I got
That is
half a
pretty
dozen.
touching.
So
Wow, Richie, that's pretty neat.
the stories we tell, Chicago history and automotive heaven. The stories I tell are one in a million. But then again, Chicago and the suburban areas, state of insanity. I mean, Illinois. I keep confusing the two. But the stories are just amazing. There's millions of stories here. And the stories I do. This week, in fact, I do volunteer work. I've been doing Lighthouse for the Blind for, I think it's 6 years now. It's going into my 7th year next year. I go and volunteer and I tell stories to those folks. And it's a fantastic feeling. It puts smiles on their faces. I take questions and we just have a great time. When I leave there, I feel great. I'm doing God's work.
Boy, you kind of like taking words out of my mouth. This museum, I got so much in my life and money in it. So I guess I do some of it to return because I enjoy to see people have a good time. And what you just said is kind of the same stuff.
It's God put us here for that reason. I've been through a lot. He's kept me here for a reason. When I tell the story sometimes, I don't know if I'll keep this in the show or not, but when I got the cancer, things changed with the insurance and this and that, and I was supposed to go have surgery. And they gutted the insurance at the time because of Obama and this and that. It was just like American Care Act, and they called it Obama. I was caught in the middle of all of that. So they canceled my surgery. I only had maybe 30 to 45 days to live. So one morning I got up, and I got angels all over the place because I give them away, and I've been doing that for many years. And I was mad. I was mad at God. I was mad at everybody, everywhere, this and that. Sitting in the bathroom, and I'm thinking, and I said, you know what? I'm done. That's it. I've had it. I'm talking to my angel. I said one thing. I said, if he's going to take me, take me. If he's going to send me down there, it's fine, because I know people down there. I'll be okay. But I'm done being mad. I'm going to go through whatever I have to go through and this and that. And it wasn't easy. We went to a different hospital, whatever. I'm not going to get into that, but I'm still here.
So do you have an operation?
Oh, God, yes. Took me 11 months to recuperate. I was walking with a cane and everything else. I had to be careful in the summer. I'm a convertible guy. I'm a motorcycle guy. I had to give all of that up. I couldn't be out in the sun. I figured out a way to do it, though. If you're ever like out there and you really want, at our ages, we have to kind of like, so you put the top down, you put the windows up, put the air on full blast. At least you're cool here. That's all that counts.
Feels good.
That's all that counts.
Well, I'm glad that you made it through all that issues.
Wayne, it's been a pleasure. I hope we're going to be back out here again. We're going to talk more often, and I want to bring some people out here, so maybe I can get some tickets to give away on my radio show. I want to get, I'm going to try to put together something where maybe I'll come out here with a group in that. So I do tours, so it'd be kind of cool. This is, this was great in 2002, 3, whatever it was, but it's not great now, man. It's fantastic.
Well,
it's beyond, so.
I shut down the end of next week, and what I do over the winter is regroup, rechange things. I learn from my visitors, so I want to try to improve it. You ain't seen a lot of stuff in here that you could do some nice stuff on. And the visitors that come here, like I say, a lot of them just don't get a chance to spend enough time because it's a hard place to come at 3 in the afternoon. You're going to shortchange yourself.
Chicago is our inspiration. Richie Z's Chicago is the only storyteller. For an unforgettable tour experience, discover Richie Z's Chicago History Tours up to 6 people. We pick you up and we bring you back. Book a tour with Richie Z by calling 312-841-2560. Check out our website, Richie Z, at Chicago History and Automotive Heaven, RICHIEZIE.com. Call 312-841-2560. We are also on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and our website at RichieZ.com. History presentations at your location. You can also book Richie Z to come to your location and do a Chicago history presentation. Call 312-841-2560.